You know, for the last couple years, Scars of Honor has existed in this kind of weird Discord void. You see the concept art, you hear the promises in dev blogs, but deep down you're wondering, is this actually a game or is it just another vaporware crowdfunding project? Well, the Steam page just officially went live. That kind of changes the conversation, at least for me. We're not just looking vague roadmaps anymore. We have a concrete details on the free-to-play MMO that claims it's going to fix the content drought problem, with dungeons that change every time you enter them, PvP system that actually respects your skill, and a talent tree that is frankly overwhelming the best way possible. They also got a history of pay-to-test controversy that we need to talk about. I'm Nilvarcus, and today we're going to deep dive into Scars of Honor. Let's see if the Beast Burst Entertainment can actually pull this off. First, we have to ground ourselves. We aren't in Azeroth. This is the continent of Aragon. The lore hook there is actually pretty decent. About 300 years ago, something called the Soul Ring detonated. It blew the human empire apart and fractured the world. Now with an ancient ice dragon waking up in the north, because of course there's a dragon, everyone is scrambling for survival. This splits the player's base into two very distinct factions. I have to say, the race choices here are doing a lot of heavy lifting for the game's identity. On one side, you got the Sacred Order. You have your humans, sun elves, dwarves, standard fantasy stuff. Then you have the Barons. Yes, you can play as a massive armored bear person. It's a distinctive visual hook that immediately separates the silhouette from other games. Then you have the Domination. These are your so-called bad guys who refuse to kneel. Orcs, undead, massive minotaur like Grontars, and my personal favorite, the Infernal Demons. The devs claim your race isn't just a skin, it dictates a cultural mechanics. If they can actually make playing a demon feel mechanically different from playing a human, rather than just giving us +5 strength, that would be a huge win for kind of a role-playing perspective. But a cool bear suit doesn't matter if the gameplay is trash. Originally, people thought this was going to be a slow, old-school tap targeting game. The Steam page is pushing different message. Skill first, reactive combat. They explicitly promise no autopiloted rotations. You can see in the footage that telegraphs matter. It looks like a hybrid. You still have the Holy Trinity, tank, healer, DPS. You can't just stare at your hotbar. You have to watch animations. If you're looking to watch Netflix on a second monitor while you grind, this might not be a game for you. And speaking of the grind, this is the feature that I think is the real unique selling point, Evershifting Dungeons. In most MMOs, you memorize the dungeon, you know the patrol path, you know the shortcut, it becomes a chore. Scars of Honor is taking page out of Diablo or Path of Exile playbook. Random generation, a layout change, traps move, encounters evolve. The idea is that level 10 dungeon and level 50 dungeon can be the same place, but scaled. It solves the biggest problem in MMOs, dead content. If this works, entire world stays relevant forever. That is a massive if, but it is a promising concept. Now, for the theory crafters out there, the people who spend more time in build calculators than the actual game, listen to this. It's going to be over 240 unique talents per class. They aren't going for the simplified route modern WoW took. They're leaning hard into the complexity. You got classes like Pirate, Necromancer, and Mystic alongside the standard Paladin. But the coolest layer is the Scar system. These are permanent gameplay modifiers tied to what you actually do in the game. It's a horizontal progression. Character becomes reflection of your journey, not just your gear score. If you prefer fighting players over procedural monsters, Steam page dropped the bombshell. Equalized gear. In the Battleground mode, Morning Pass, it's a 5v5 objective combat, and you get a temporary champion's gear. This means you win because you are better, not because you raided for 400 hours. And for the pure chaos lovers, there's the Arena, Callahan Ring. They have a 1v1v1 mode, 3-way mirror match. Sounds like absolute stress, and I'm all for it here. Okay, we have to address the elephant in the room, the money. Scars of Honor is a free-to-play, and on the Steam page, they have signed the Blood Oath, no pay-to-win. Cosmetics, convenience, no power, that's the promise. However, you have to remember the pay-to-test controversy. For a long time, the only way to play the buggy alpha was to pay subscription or buy a pack. It rubbed a lot of people in the wrong way. Moving to Steam suggests they are ready for a wider, freer audience, but we need to watch that cash shop like a hawk when the servers go live. So here's the verdict. Scars of Honor is an ambitious, maybe too ambitious for an indie studio, but randomly generated dungeons, equalized PvP, deep customization in an MMO that is checking a lot of boxes that big studios have ignored for decades. It's slated 2026. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it and see how it progresses. Maybe there's some potential if they can actually deliver on the potential. But now I want to hear from you guys. How are you feeling about Scars of Honor right now? Do you think it's just going to be a vaporwave, or do you actually think there's a game here? Tell me down in the comments. If you enjoyed this kind of videos, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.